Okay, well, welcome to Knoema. It is 1 o'clock Central U.S. time, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We actually have a great audience that joined, so thank you all for joining our webinar here, and we can catch up other folks as they join. My name is Brett Boyd. I am the CEO of Knoema. I'm also joined by Ellen Goodwin, one of our directors here, and really what our goal is this morning is to just walk through a little bit how some of our tools work, share some of, I guess, some tips and insights into some of the things that are possible with Knoema, and then answer questions, and in general, just help our members and our customers better use these tools to do their work and support their workflows. Just as an administrative note here, please note that we will be running polls throughout the conference, and if you'd like to answer any of these, please do feel free. Please also feel free to submit questions. Our goal is to talk here for, call it 15 or 20 minutes. Again, walk through a couple of different use cases and share what we think are some of the most impactful use cases here. And then we'll go into a Q&A period. And if we don't have time to address all the questions, we'll actually push some of them out in email afterwards. So to begin here, and to just kind of frame where we're at here, so Knoema as a business has been around for around 7 years here, and we have built what we believe to be the largest database of useful public data, where we've pulled in data from 1,200 different sources in a very complex kind of automation and normalization process, and we've brought all that data together in a centralized database. And on top of that, then, we've layered these analytic tools to help our customers work with data. And when you look at our business, we actually have 3 different products. So for Knoema members, we actually allow people to come to Knoema. We've built this business to be the single site where people can find any piece of data that they want. So come to Knoema and search the world's data. We do that for our free members. We understand that some people who come to data as a result of search are professionals who work with data. And so our professional product is designed specifically to enable that use case, to allow professionals to work with the world's data, which we view as manipulate, visualize, present, and export the world's data. And then we also have an enterprise product where we work specifically with organizations in both the public and private sector to help them integrate their data with the world's data in a purpose-built data portal to support their organizational objectives. And we'll do a series of these webinars here. This one is specific to the professional product, so that middle use case that I mentioned here. And again, a lot of our customers on this range from industry analysts to financial analysts. We have a lot of public sector employees in this product as well. In general, some of the use cases that we have here is, and Ellen will actually walk through some of these in detail, but some of the use cases that make me most excited about that product and that get us the best feedback around that product are just the idea where we have people who build and build visualizations like we all need to for our jobs. And you can actually build visualizations inside the tool that automatically update. And so every time you're going to a meeting or submitting or needing to send out a report, etc., you can download and export. We also have a whole notification flow that I'm eager for Ellen to show. So I'm going to hand this off. Ellen's going to walk through some of these key features and use cases, and we'll start to go through this, and we really look forward to getting your questions. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. This is Ellen. Let's jump in with some data discovery on Knoema. So for some people who want to jump in and search, they have an exploration sort of mentality, see what might come up. But there are others that we have observed want a more structured approach to help them discover data. And for that latter group, we created the World Data Atlas. So let's say your company is examining the business forecast in the wake of Brexit. I could jump in here on our homepage to the United Kingdom and move into the space of our World Data Atlas. What you'll find here is immediate access to basic country facts. So we've grouped together some of the most popular data indicators that we've observed over the last 7 years from among our users, whether economy or demographics, energy, land use. We've brought them all here together globally so that you can find information that might be relevant to your analysis on the fly. I can quickly check real GDP growth, observe the trend, key data information. I can move into compare, rank, put it into a map, or go directly into the data set, in this case, the IMF. But we also offer more information, such as dashboards, to get you started and how you might put this data to use. In this case, I might look at shifting from Greek to UK exit. Now, this is a dashboard that we obviously created and submitted to our users to help inspire them and how they can use this information. But the way that our professional users can use this is to help start building their own. They can add any one of these visualizations into their favorites and reuse that later to build their own dashboards without any more effort than the click of that button. You can also move in to a compare feature. So let's say you are evaluating the UK. Your business is interested there. Well, what we've done is that you might also be interested in France, Italy, or any number of other countries. I can say I want to compare these countries and take a look at all those same indicators that I just showed you prior and see how the countries rank against each other. Now, the beauty of this is that you don't have to do the digging. We've done it for you. So for every key indicator, you now have an instant view of how key economic indicators relate, energy, transportation, and with this, we provide an export functionality so that you can take this information into your next meeting. Now, for other users, they want to take a look at their own price. I put in here aluminum prices. Aluminum, this is a high demand commodity for consumer products, electrical, transportation. So we're going to use this as our example today. What we do in Knoema is we offer you an instant answer. This is kind of our best guess at what you might be looking at. And in this case, it's a historical time series going back to 1960 and running through October of this year. And you can see here the source is the World Bank commodity price data sheet. I also have other information about related commodities that might help me kind of round up my thinking about what's happening in general with key commodities. I can jump into other time series if that was not what I was looking for. I have other instant visualizations that are relevant, and comparative charts, and data sets. I'm actually going to save this one because I might use it later when I build the dashboard. Let's go into the World Bank result. From search, you can dive right into the data set. The advantage here is that you have the full data set for your browsing, including all of transparent information about this data set right here. I can see how frequently the data, the data frequencies. So there's some data in here that's monthly, some that's annual. I can see the full range of the reporting from the World Bank. I can see where we originally pulled this data from. And I can view information on the most recent publication date. Up here, I can now find my source. I was looking at aluminum, but I could just as easily say I'm interested in copper. Now I'm going to say I'm looking at real 2010 US dollars, and I have an instant visualization. Aluminum and copper. I can look at the time series. I can change into any number of visualization types to look at this information. Now, when I'm satisfied, I can actually save this and add to my favorites if I would like to, so I can build it into a dashboard. I could also choose to explore other data sets, go back to mine, or I can see up here that 76 other dashboards are already built on this. I could click over for some inspiration on how I might use this data set from the World Bank, which is definitely one of Knoema's most popular, to build some other dashboards. For our advanced users, for our professional users, we offer the service that they can build their own dashboards. So I'm going to go ahead and create a dashboard. I'm going to do a 2x2 layout and say create. As I already showed you, you can easily favorite any information as you discover it in your data sets, or as I discovered it in my search, and pop it into a dashboard. Once it's in here, you can completely customize this. So we want people to be able to say, I need to look at certain colors. I need to add one more thing to this chart. I actually don't like that style. Let me convert into a line graph. Let me go over here. I want to change the name of the series, and I want to say aluminum price. I want to change the color of this. I'm going to move into a dark blue. I'm going to change format. I can do any of that from here. I changed it into a format, so I'm emphasizing gold here instead, and I left the others into bar graph. You would do this maybe if you're really talking about gold, change your emphasis for whatever reason. I can also add text here. I can add analytic text. I could also add images or links to other pages. I could change my mind entirely and remove a gadget. And now I could add analytic text here if I so chose. Maybe you realize I don't have a source for this information and I need to make that evident. I can go back in at any time and edit that as well. I can add a footnote, and we give you options to sort how you would like to cite that. In this case, I'm going to choose to include the World Bank commodity price sheet reference only, and it will automatically add that so that at any point I, myself, or someone that I share this with can access the data set that's underlying this and save. When you create a dashboard, a professional user will have it automatically appear in a private mode. With this mode on, you have the option to share it with colleagues or with others that have access to your visualization, or you can make it public, in which case it'll be discoverable by anyone working on Knoema.com. This is just a simple example, and obviously I chose some random pieces of it, but Knoema provides access to thousands of dashboards to help inspire you, and I showed you some good examples there with the World Bank. We also provide you access within our own system to all of our Visit the Days, where you can explore by topic and see how we address everything from health to global green economy to business environment. We provide these to you so that you can save any bit amount of information to build your own dashboards. I really want to emphasize this point because these resources are here for our professional users so that they can start building their own dashboards. And one thing that we hear from our enterprise level clients is that these are a real resource to them. It helps inspire them, and it also helps shortcut their own analytic work so that they can recreate these for their own purposes, add in their corporate data on top of public data, and create these same visualizations for their own internal analysis. We're going to pause here now and take any questions that we have coming in from the audience.
So one of the questions that we had was about export formats and some of the different things that you can do with how you export data. And it ties a little bit. We'll go in and kind of demo this feature real quick. But what it ties to a little bit is, again, the purpose of this product and like why we created it, what we were trying to do here. And again, if you think about this, if you think about the idea of like what we're really trying to do is we're trying to high grade analysts' time. So we're trying to facilitate your ability to spend more time on actual data analysis and the thought work that we do once we build our visualizations and once we pull our data together, and less time on the actual mechanics of pulling data together. And that's important to talk about because, again, it ties a little bit to export formats. And we get a lot of questions around, hey, I just really want to pull this out and play with it in Excel or in Sheets, which you can obviously do right here as we're showing on the screen. But what we really want to show in this, and one of the big areas of education, is we just really want to show the power of some of these tools, and specifically the benefit of how analysts at a variety of different organizations can really enhance their professional activity through this product. So, again, there's not a ton to show as far as exports. We really just pulled this up to highlight there are a lot of different export formats. We're investigating some other areas of connection as people use different types of tools in different areas. But this is an area anyways, exports are important to understand kind of in context of our overall goal of what we're trying to do. Handing this back to Ellen.
One of the questions that we just received was about using multiple data sets. So there's a number of ways that you can do that. So when you create a dashboard, I'm going to go back into a 2x2 example. And I'm going to pull in one of our running examples. I saved this from one of those visit the days. I'm actually going to move this over. So right now here I have United States real GDP growth shown on the screen. And the source is the U.S. Department of Commerce, Bureau of Economic Analysis. One option that we provide is that you can actually show data on two different axes from two different data sets. So in this case, I can go back to my data catalog selection. I can browse data sets and find a different source that I would like to use. Here I'm going to choose this one. So one of the options, oh, excuse me, I chose, my colleagues are pointing out I chose a similar one. Let's go World Bank doing business. Okay. So now I have two options here. I have the one I started with, and I've added the World Bank doing business indicator. And since I know that my other one was focused on the United States, I'm going to go ahead and choose United States again here. I'm going to find another indicator that I'm interested in. Let's look at the just general, let's see, I don't want to do a rank. What would be an interesting example? So many. Well, we'll just choose the general global rank. And I'm going to now choose how I want that to appear. Interesting thing is I chose one that wasn't a great example for you all today. Let me go back out. This is the fun part of live demonstrations. Let me go browse. I am going to choose source. And I'm going to go into the International Monetary Fund. I'm going to choose Consumer Price Index. I'm going to go back now and choose the United States for a more relevant contrast to GDP. Let's choose Consumer Price Index. Actually, I'm going to choose percentage change. Now you can see I've chosen two indicators that work on a long time series. And I'm going to actually save. I kept in these, this was inherited from the original graphic where we have some shading that shows you different recession periods. I can also remove that. We brought in some of these that are commonly used. For a lot of our users, they want to look at US recession data. That's a common trend. But you can also set your own forecast range or a line or a band. You can choose a custom range. I could say that I only want to shade in a certain period. You might do this, for example, if you're talking about a major political event or an election, or you can talk about the global financial crisis that hit in 2007, 2008, and you might shade that region, whatever is analytically useful to you. But for now, I'm just going to turn that off so it's not distracting. But now I have two different data sets used on this same graph, the CPI and the National Income Accounts GDP that we started with. So yes, the answer to that question is you can use multiple data sets on one chart. Next question.
Flow into alerts and notifications.
So we are going to answer a question about how can someone follow, if you're a professional user, particular information. We have a number of options. I'm just going to move out of that one. I'm going to jump into another data set. So let's go back into our data set view. I have a couple options, right? So I can follow this dashboard. So I'm in a visit of the day. That is not loading. Let's just refresh this page for you all. So here I'm actually in the data set. So I have a couple options. I can add any data set to my favorites. And the reason that you would do this is that the next time you build a visualization, this will be in your favorites so that you can easily recall it, and as I was just doing, to bring in a new data set into a visualization. But you can also say that you want to follow a page. So if someone else has created a dashboard, or you've created a dashboard, and you want to know when the data in this dashboard is updated, then you can hit this plus sign over here, and you will now be following that. That will show up in your user feed, and you will also receive email notifications, which you can modify in your profile to receive on a weekly or monthly basis as a digest, or even on a daily basis. So now every time this data set, the data in this dashboard is updated, you're going to get an email notification of doing that. So you do have that option as well. We are in the process of expanding how many alerts our professional users can set. Let's go to UAE oil production on your screen. In this example, the instant result will likely, I hope, be a time series where you're going to see the UAE oil production. So you can see the most recent information here. It's from Jody Oil Data Set. Those of you from oil and gas are surely very familiar with this source. So I have great information here in a time series trend. I can see that right now, at the end of December, it was just above 3,000 barrels per day. So right here, I automatically get an option where I can say, you know what, if that drops below 3 million barrels per day, if it drops below that, I want a notification. So I can now go ahead and subscribe, and I will get an email notification, and it will also show up in my profile if that data changes behavior in that way. For our professional users, you can send unlimited number of these so that you have the data feed coming to you, and you don't have to log in and check every time the data is updated. So those are two examples. Good question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ellen. And just to tail on that a little bit around notifications, again, what our goal here is to basically to enable professional users to not have to to not have to grind the internet to make sure that you understand like what data sets are being released, to make sure that you're working with the most correct data here. And again, there are several different ways where you can bundle notifications into do I want daily digest, weekly digest, as Ellen mentioned. But again, we're trying to enable our professional customers to take the step above just finding data and ensuring they have accurate data and get to the step of what does that data mean. And so again, what the next question that came in here was a more general question. That was the idea of how does Knoema help with strategy? And I think that's a wonderful question. It's kind of a broad and complicated response because at the end of the day, there are a lot of different manifestations of that. And candidly, we have a lot of different tools and approaches and so on. Some are in our professional product. Again, this is the one that is our lowest price point product, easiest to buy, kind of designed to be bought by an individual professional. We have some other tools that are part of our enterprise product that are designed a little bit more for organizations to work with here. But I guess in general, how Knoema helps with strategy is the idea that we find several big use cases here, right? In many cases, data represents the environmental indicators in which we operate. So if you work at a global company that's operating in global markets here, data sets, these 1,200 data sets, 2.2 billion time series of data actually represents they represent your indicators of opportunity and risk and change, which often are the times that drive us to do different things here. And so, again, my mind goes directly for the strategic use around how do we build different indicators and so on, so that we're able to put our, so if you're able to say, hey, look, there are 3 different data sets that I view here, and I am trying to look at my demand drivers or my market potential in country X. The idea that you can easily pull together things like the cost of energy, the per capita spending on electricity, and other relevant factors to build kind of indices and different views that you can pull together for your for whatever use case you're trying to put together. I guess I would view this as a tool to enable strategy. And again, when we think about a lot of these dashboards, and kind of what these, I don't know, what one does with these dashboards here. The idea that, again, you can kind of set up these warnings and indicators, and you can build those into an environment where you can have these automatically update. So every time new data comes in, you always have the most recent data. That's kind of a way that then allows you to step back and focus on the strategic implications of what the data is saying, as opposed to the actual work with the data here. So this is a dashboard that I built. I think this is very interesting here around how do you measure economic performance, and is GDP the actual right situation here? This is just an example. I guess I bring this up as an idea of a lot of different concepts that are linked together in one view, right? So my idea here is to say I'm curious about the most accurate way to measure national performance, and I'm curious if GDP as an indicator is still relevant in the digital era when we have a higher percentage of jobs that are in the service economy and so on. And so what I've done here is I've actually put together a dashboard. Again, this has got probably 30 different data sets that feed into it that are going to automatically update here. And what I want to do is I want to actually pick a country. Let's pick, let's pick somewhere in Western Europe. Let's pick France. And so what's going to happen here is sorry, I'm getting stuck a little bit, is that we are going to, so we'll pick France, we'll see the indicators throughout here flow down, and so I can look at France's GDP, but I can also evaluate France in all of these other different indicators here. And so, again, this isn't doing my strategy work for me, this isn't telling me what to do, but this is in one place actually bringing all of this together so I can say, hey, look, there's kind of an interesting correlation here between some of the employment vulnerability statistics to the, oh, interesting, the happiness index here and some environmental indicators. And, and again, this is high grading my time so that I can focus more on what does this mean and what do I do about it, and so on. So as we are getting close to the half hour here, I'm going to answer a couple of other quick questions here that are going to be relatively straightforward. A lot of this is actually around the business mechanics of how this of generally like how you buy this thing and what it is and what the pricing is and those kinds of things. And so I guess I would point you towards a couple of different areas. Again, to reframe this in context of our overall product hierarchy, you can come to Knoema and search the world's data for free. This tool specifically that we've been showing is our professional tool. The professional tool is designed for students, for analysts, and for industry professionals who work with data, which in our view is essentially everyone, to work with the world's data. So again, manipulate, visualize, export, present, be notified, etc. So that's this product. This again we do have a student pricing that does have a separate landing page on it. Some of our pricing is localized based on region in the world, so it's not a general one-size-fits-all as the question on what is education pricing, but we do have a discount for students, and we do encourage you to go. So Knoema.com/products/professional is the landing page for this. And so again, we really do appreciate your time. We're actually we will record this and we will send this out. We are aware that we're trying to keep this at a half hour, and we were aware that there are a number of other questions here that we didn't get to, and so we apologize. But I would say that if you were to send us an email at support@knoema.com, or feel free to send me an email at brett@knoema.com, and we will ensure your questions get addressed. And anyway, so please do let us know how this went for you. Feedback is very much appreciated. We thank you for your time, and for those who are customers of our Pro product, we thank you for our business, and thank you very much.